And we are live.
Live with Craigbot.
Well, I meant we were live on OBS, but sure. We're
Chris,
live
you
with
just
Craigbot
have
as
this
well.
like net. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
I fell asleep on the couch over there.
Why was Kayla going to kick you out had you just crawled into bed?
No, it was like 3:40 in the morning. And
Yeah.
I was like, do I go to the bedroom? But I got set my alarm for like 7. So I'm just gonna go here.
Did you bother to listen to the first half hour of book 2?
No, I did not.
Did you?
I did
I wasn't
not.
sure if we were going to discuss it or not.
Okay, so all right, so this episode we against
Howdy,
Berger's
boys and girls. Welcome back to Casual Outlaws.
So against every fiber of Berger's being, we did Off to Be the Wizard by Scott Meyer. The story of Martin Banks, a random, everyday, normal guy who fancies himself a hacker, finds a file on an open directory online. It's
Yeah,
text.
Joe Schmo, a hacker. Everybody dabbles in that.
Just an NPC.
Yeah.
Finds a file. It's a 5 terabyte text file. He does what he always does whenever he finds random text files, and he searches his name. Finds his name.
As you do.
As
Joe
one
Schmo.
does. Finds his name, and then figures out that there's a bunch of other information about him on that file. So he starts changing things that he doesn't agree with, like his height. Turns out, whatever he changes actually applies to him in real life. So he starts planning, what am I going to do if, I get caught and found with this? And then, of course, 48 hours later, he gets caught and found with it. So he escapes to medieval England, and he says, I'm going to be a wizard and just, make myself Merlin or something. Turns out, not the first guy to have done it. There's a bunch of them, and he's woefully unprepared. And
Woefully.
yes, woefully unprepared, considering he gets his ass handed to him by the first wizard he encounters.
That's what happens when you turn yourself into a human vibrator.
It's not the first wizard he encounters.
It's the first wizard. Well, technically, you are correct. It is not the first wizard that he encounters. Although I think she fancies herself more of a sorceress.
A witch.
Yes, a witch, a sorceress.
I don't think anybody said the word sorceress in this whole fucking book. What are you talking about?
It's in the next book.
Wow. Spoilers.
Do you even care, Chris? Because these two gentlemen apparently did not like the book at all.
I have yet to discuss my opinions about the book. So you don't know what I'm feeling.
The attitude that you're coming at me with, it sounds like you maybe didn't like the book.
No, my attitude is I'm going to withhold any statements because I need to talk about this while we record.
All right, well, go
But
ahead.
if you'd like me to start, fuck this book.
We're recording.
I feel like you were trying to make fun of my intelligence making me read this.
Oh, man. All right, finish description of the book. It's already getting hot.
So turns out there's a bunch of other guys who have found the file. They've all turned themselves into wizards. There's 20 of them, I'd say, something like that. One guy, Jimmy, steps himself up as actually Merlin. He's propped up the king, made a bunch of gold, all this shit. Then he starts turning people into hobbits and goblins and all these manner of characters from high fantasy like Lord of the Rings. And everyone's like, yo, that's fucked up. You shouldn't do that. These people are like really not doing well. He ends up killing an entire village. So they end up going against him, taking him out, sending him to, what was it, Argentina?
I don't remember.
Yeah, so they sent him to Argentina, but posing as a Brazilian fan for the national soccer team. And they're like, yeah, good luck. See what happens to you there. Apparently they're big rivals. I don't know. I'm not South American.
Kind of hard.
I mean, if you look the part.
Shoe fits.
I mean, I've been told I look non-Hispanic.
Anyway.
So I really just want to get Berger's opinion on this and then Nate's opinion on this because it tickles me.
Everything about this book sucked. Like, I texted Chris, like, hey, are you reading this? Because the time travel shit is pissing me off. And he's like, I'm okay with it. Because it's supposed to be like a casual book or whatever, and you're not supposed to take it too seriously. The only problem with that theory is that the book tries to explain how fucking smart it is at you, and all the characters have to prove how fucking clever they are. And every single one of them is a stupid jackass.
Can you give us examples?
Okay, so like time travel being wrong, like their explanation for time travel is stupid as shit. The reason why you can't go forward in time, even though it's the one thing that everybody can do already, is because the computer doesn't know about it. But this would break all sense of time symmetry, which is just wrong in all physical sense. Not to mention you could just do something silly like suspend yourself in a spaceship on Pluto for 20 years and then just teleport right the fuck back. It doesn't make any sense. And then you got the characters who think they're fucking geniuses, but nobody asks a relevant fucking question. Like, what happens when you find a file on a server? Well, you ask yourself some very basic questions. Who has access to this file? Who has accessed this file? How did I get permission to access this file? Somebody's got to be looking at this shit. And the whole time they're trying to explain why the decisions that they made make sense, but nobody asks. Like, I've asked like 200 questions, and they maybe answered 3 of them. It is absolutely fucking annoying. It is predictable. This book is so predictable.
Super predictable.
Oh my god. The girl that he first meets as soon as he teleports back in time, like, how the fuck would she know what the fuck a wizard's robe is if she's not a wizard already? I know it kind of gets explained later in that she's the tailor for all these wizards, but it doesn't make any sense at the beginning of it. In terms of the trial, they kept hyping it so much. I was like, man, what would be the stupidest fucking thing that they could do right now? Oh, what if we just undercut it by making the party the day before the trial be the trial? You fucking shit. Oh my god. Move on for a minute. I'm so angry.
Oh my god.
I'm just gonna build on top of that.
Oh, hold on. First, I just need to enjoy all this hate flowing through him.
You can tell he's getting real mad because he just starts rubbing his eyes and his forehead.
Oh god, I'm getting a migraine.
He's like, if I don't let this explode from my mouth hole, it's gonna blow up my fucking mind.
Well, now that he needs to take a moment to cool down, it seems like, Nate, do you want to add?
Yeah, this book fucking sucked. Every character, I was like, okay, that's not genuine. And I don't like him. Philip pissed me off the entire book. Fuck that dude, and fuck his I'm better than you and I know more even though I'm from an older time. Sense of entire being. Like, because he's like British or from London, he's just like the smartest guy. Like, I did not like his character. The whole time travel didn't make sense. The whole, we can all go back, but we can't go forward because the file that we access hasn't seen that time ahead of our time, but it has access to everyone. Like, it's all the same file, but it's not the same file.
What they're trying to say, or what he's trying to say, is that the individual character, so like, let's say Martin, his existence, what he can say his consciousness is, has only existed up till this time. So the file doesn't have all the relevant information for his existence in order to render it for him after that.
Then answer me this, Batman. How can Philip go in and cut off his access to the file if in that premise it's technically not the same file? That's my whole thing. They didn't really explain.
It's not that it's not the same file. It's just that the entry for that individual is not fully rendered in that time.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Because okay.
Oh,
Okay,
this is
so
great.
in order to
Okay.
go back in time, you have to take a moment from the present and you have to capture something from the present, this essence of the person, right? And then you have to use a handler to send that to the past. So what would have to happen is that the past has to be able to interact with the future. Okay? Because that's how time fucking works.
Does?
It does. It really fucking does, Andy. So in order for
Bro, it's
the
just a text
past
file.
I know, man.
the past
Jeez.
would have to be able to see the future. So if you're in the present, okay, because you exist in every single moment from beforehand, you should be able to send that capture to the future because that's how time works. Because
Well,
you've
that's how
already
time works
demonstrated.
in the real world, but
In
they
actual
already
reality.
but they actually
No.
already explained that in the book. It seems like they're in a program, so maybe it doesn't function
Listen.
within the parameters of the program.
No, that's stupid as shit because
No.
like there's like a 99.99% probability that we're in a computer program, okay? And so
Are you saying you're Martin Banks?
no, I'm
You
not
would
saying
be
I'm
a Martin
anything
Banks.
that I'm not saying I'm anybody that fucking stupid. Okay? In order like we're going to assume because they haven't demonstrated to anything to us that their reality is virtually identical to ours. Okay? In order for us to have any relatability to them. Okay, so we can assume that our reality, like in terms of interacting with this hypothetical that this book would propose, that we're in a virtual world, right? So we would look at what we could see within our world that is virtual. We can see time symmetry. We know that you can travel forward in time by sheer existing.
I think that you're maybe reading a bit too much into this.
Listen, it's not the issue of reading too much into this, it's that the book tries to explain it to you like it's so fucking smart. And so if it tries to tell you, like, this is how it works, then you should be able to raise your hand and say, excuse me, no, it fucking doesn't. That doesn't make any
But
sense.
but then it did because that's how it happened in the book, within the parameters.
The book is stupid. That's the argument that I'm making. The book is for fucking morons.
Okay, so besides the whole scientific or parameters, guidelines, premise of the book, and the without even time travel, I didn't like how exhaustingly predictive this book was. As soon as something happens, you're just like, can we just get to the next chapter? I'm done with this little throwing pumpkins and kicking this guy into a tree scenario. Like, the character buildup wasn't really that great. In my opinion, it was dull. I think everything about the dull and the character buildup was just kind of, not lame, not boring, just
In the
bland.
middle.
Yeah, it was
No,
just
no,
it was
right.
just bland. The buildup of
You're
the
talking
book,
about the
and
murderer guy, right?
that too. I mean, the
Oh,
whole
I like
buildup.
the murderer guy is the only good character in the whole fucking book because
Jimmy?
like he's like
Marlin.
no, not
Oh,
Jimmy.
the Merlin.
No, not
Oh.
Merlin. The townie who just wants to hurt people.
Cluj.
Yeah. Cluj.
Yeah,
Oh,
Cluj.
Cluj,
He
okay.
is an absolute delight because you understand that character's motivations.
Absolute delight. He's just a
You
simple
un-
man. He wants to
He's
hurt
a simple
people.
man with simple desires. He wants to hurt people, and he executes on it. Every action he takes is to further his own objectives. Every other character is just like, I'm gonna prove how much of a cool nerd guy I am, and how much I like cars and stuff. Guys, do you remember The Simpsons? Oh, what a riot!
No comment.
No
Oh.
comment.
Cluj was good. I did like him.
Yeah.
It's like the author took more thought into making sure that Cluj's character thought things out. You know, the way he was going to implement his little dirty desires and all that shit.
I think
But every other
maybe
character, everything was just predictable.
I think maybe for all the other characters, he was like, okay, what would a gamer do if they found a cheat file for the game of life?
But these aren't gamers; they're hackers. You gotta hack.
They're
planets.
nerds, so I'm pretty sure
Half
that
the
a lot of them
planets.
play video games.
Nobody's seen the movie Hackers. Anyway.
Chris, you haven't put much input into this episode so far.
He's still
So
waking up.
I read this book, High on Edibles.
I forgot to mention that he was on edibles while he was cramming 5 hours into 2.
On higher speed. I was like high on edibles and I was playing Minecraft Dungeons at the same time. So, which kind of goes well with it. And man, this is a great popcorn book.
There's no such thing.
Yes,
I
yes,
just
there
made it up.
is.
Just made it up. This is a great popcorn book.
Oh,
Like-
so you're gonna do the next book?
I would read the next book because it's like a popcorn book. It's so small and digestible, and I'm like, I just pop an edible and just listen to this while I play video games. Yeah, I enjoyed it for that part. I'm not saying it's a great book or a good book, but I was entertained.
I was.
You know,
I
I
was
look beyond the,
slightly
like,
entertained.
Like I said, I was high, right, most of the time. So I'm like,
Whoa.
time travel. I'm not a huge fan of time travel in general,
Yeah,
across any kind of medium in general, because of like
time travel.
it's hard to pull off well. And going into this book knowing it's a garbage book, I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Suspension of disbelief kind of thing. I'm like, whatever, cool. And yeah, you're right. Like it's very trite, right? It hits all those like stereotypic tropes down the.
Yep.
But I think that's almost the point of the writers. Like he wasn't trying to be clever. He's just like, all right, let's follow these tropes and just.
I think he started off as basically like a
He
web
was
comic.
trying to be clever.
I think he was a web comic author.
Yeah.
Like
What
if
was the year
you
published on this book?
2012 or
that one.
2014, something like that.
Yeah.
Seems like it was like a 12 to 15 reading range book.
Well,
Probably.
a bit of a hint here.
I do know
It does
that.
feel like it's supposed to be a YA book. Like
Yeah,
it's not
YA book
supposed
for sure.
Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, the rest of like a good majority of the series actually didn't get print published. It was all just Audible published.
I wonder why.
Oh, and the voice actor is fantastic.
I
Well-
don't like the voice actor.
You don't like Luke Daniels?
I like Luke
No.
Daniels.
Do you?
I didn't
Yeah.
mind him. I liked him.
He's the Iron Druid guy.
Yeah,
did Iron
he
Druid
is the
also.
Iron Druid guy.
I don't like. There's this one section of the
He's-
book that really fucking grated on me, where the guy's like over pronouncing his P's, and it was fucking awful. I was like, please make this stop.
Oh, when the guy keeps
Dear
saying
God.
Philip.
Yeah, like,
Philip?
yeah. It was. I
I think that's.
I already hated the character in the books, like trying to make you hate him more,
Yeah.
kind of.
I think
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I think the author is a little aware of how like
How piece of shit Jimmy is.
yeah,
Well,
like
I won't say
like
that
a
the
strange
author
fact
has
that-
no idea how to write. It's just that everything he does is a lot dumber than he thinks it is. Like he thinks he's being clever with a lot of his things. Like, oh, you know what's cool? Misdirecting everything. We're gonna have the guy have a secret room that nobody can go in, and then you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make everybody acknowledge that the obvious thing would be the obvious thing, that Philip was the guy who was killing everybody the whole time, or killing everybody in that village, and trying to make them honest. But like, it really sounds like it. Like, it makes me so angry.
doing an
because-
aneurysm.
Yeah, because it's like the second time. It's the second time they introduce the room where you're like, oh, this is clearly a red herring. Like, it's supposed to be secret, but we're gonna find out it's gonna be some completely innocent thing.
Yeah, man.
Don't
He was just
understand.
trying to build his Pontiac Fiero.
Yeah, for some reason.
It's a cool car.
Hey guys,
Yeah, man.
remember the Pontiac Fiero? That's like a legitimate partner thing. Great.
I think he's just very proud of his Pontiac Fiero.
Very protective of it.
Yeah, man.
I guess.
It's his
The
first
question
car.
is, why?
Because it's his first car. And he bought
It's a
it brand
popcorn flick.
new.
It's a popcorn flick, 100%. Doesn't have
But
to
it-
make sense. It was not intended to make sense.
The whole time I know that this is just a red herring. We spend so much time on it, and it's obvious that it's not the guy. He doesn't have an obsession with changing things around the world. He just has the secret room. We know it's not going to be Philip. Why did we spend like an hour trying to
Trying to make it Philip.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not Philip.
I gotcha. You didn't get shit. Forces.
It reminds me of this could be like an animated, like just a cartoon
Yeah.
show, right?
Serialized
Yeah.
cartoon.
Because of all that stuff. Like if this was
Dragon Ball Z, 12
This was
episodes
almost-
for one fight.
well, if it was almost written like for like a web cartoon,
Mm-hmm.
and like you could combine a couple chapters to make an episode, and it ends with like these silly cliffhangers and stuff like that, or these twists that are predictable.
Mhm.
It's almost like it was written in that way.
Yeah. So Chris was high as a kite. What the fuck is your excuse, Andy? Like seriously.
Yeah,
I
because
think-
you actually would oh, it's a great book.
Yeah, it's a great book to piss off Berger.
I think less of you as a person now.
No, you
I'm okay with that.
reading this.
I'm okay with
You
that.
genuinely enjoyed this.
Yeah, I enjoyed
What
it.
was it?
Yeah, what did
In
you
what
like
way? Like,
about
what
this?
did
Because it was
do for
because it's nothing that I'm taking seriously. It's just something
Yeah.
to listen to, and I like the
Exactly.
narrator.
Yeah, I'm the same, but like I don't take this book seriously. I was like,
I will tell you though, as the series progresses, there's some characters that you really, really just grow to hate, and I want them to die very slow, painful deaths, and it never
I wanted
happens.
everybody to die in this book. I don't know what you mean by that.
Hey, except Cluj.
No, Kluge could die. He's a
Kluge-
bad guy.
Kluge actually
He's just
gets
the best
involved
written
later and everything.
character.
Cool.
Kluge could die.
We
He's
get
an
to learn
evil
more
person.
about Todd. Remember Todd?
I don't think I could, because I mean, obviously we listened to it on Audible. I don't think I could pick this actual book up
and read it.
and finish it. Just
100%.
reading the book, I could not do it.
that's a good
I could
point.
hardly stay awake through the audiobook. I'd have to
I
go
zoned-
back
I
and be like,
had-
okay, where did I fall asleep? Here? Okay.
I had to listen to the presentation part of it like 3 times.
Oh man,
I
that's great.
just-
The fact that you had to re-listen to it,
I know.
it makes it
Warms
makes
my
your
heart.
pain so much more enjoyable to me.
Well, I would just like zone out. I'd be like, wait, what the fuck's going on? I did have to look up the song he was talking about, the Herbie Hancock song, and I was like, oh, okay. I did know what the Dolby one was right away, because shout out to a YouTube channel, Todd in the Shadows. I watched his One Hit Wonderland series, and they covered that. So I was like, I know what that is. That was like, there was like 2
That
jokes. and I
one
can't
little
remember them
rise
right now.
that you liked about the book.
Yeah, that was a thing. Kluge was absolutely pleasant as a character. There were like 2 jokes that actually made me chuckle. Like like I said, I don't think the writing is totally like the writer knows how to write. I just think everything's a lot dumber than he thinks it was.
Again, I don't know. I don't want to defend him, but at the same time, it's like I don't know if that's the case, just because he did come from a background of just writing webcomics. And I mean, if you ever followed a webcomic, they're not exactly highbrow.
Oh my god, let me do you one better. So this is some weeb stuff that's about to happen here.
No shit
There's
with that
really?
background.
Yeah. There's a light novel that got made into an anime called Another World in Another World with My Smartphone. That is like basically the plot of this show, except they're like the guy. Except okay, I hate watch the show too because it was an absolute dog shit show. The animation was garbage. The audio mixing was just awkward. I hated every character in the show. It very much reminded me of this. And I think that's what led to a lot of my boredom because I've already seen this before. You're looking up In Another World with My Smartphone?
No, but I
okay.
might.
It made me. I was so mad at this anime, and I loved it because of how bad it was. I think I would have enjoyed this a lot more if it was like an animated program that I could have watched. Like
I said, I felt like this was probably should have been a cartoon, or maybe it was written to be a cartoon, and they're like, this is turned into an Audible book.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
So,
there.
Berger,
can
would you
sell the
recommend
shit
this
to
book?
teenagers. No, absolutely not.
No.
If you need
It's
to
like you
hate
knew what
me-
was coming.
I don't. Okay, if you wanted to like watch something, I would recommend In Another World with my smartphone. It is absolutely fucking garbage, and will cover in broad strokes exactly what we read here. A guy goes to a parallel world. He tries to get everybody to suck his dick. He gives himself OP powers, and it's super boring.
So, actually, one thing that I kind of wanted to see if you would touch on would be the concept of the magic system in this book.
So it's
There is no magic system.
I mean, the whole thing with
not
the
magic.
shell and like what can be done. Like, okay, you can lift these objects because it's most of
It's
the
all just
matter in there is
physics.
all the solid.
That's stupid.
It wasn't
That's-
like
oh.
they tried to play it off as magic, and I wanted them to kind of describe it in a way where to make it sound like more magic. But I mean, it was just them altering physics in a text file.
Listen,
Yeah.
calling it magic is fine because of just like as soon as you use bare bones idiom, like any sufficiently advanced technology to an unadvanced society is magic,
Mhm.
right? Like that's fine. It's perfectly acceptable as a definition. The problem is that when you try and apply any sort of computer knowledge to it whatsoever, because like the file that they use is just a database. You can't do the things that you're saying that you're doing in the file with the database. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, I changed the value of this variable in a text file to be a constant, but it's just data. There's no variables in a database. It doesn't make any fucking sense there. Nor can you write, what do they call them?
Macros.
Macros.
You can't write macros. Like, they would
Target
have had to have
No
found.
exists.
They would have
Start
Yeah,
pet
they-
attack.
they would have had to find some other top level application that interacted with the file, right? And it sounds like that's what they're doing when they create the shell that they use. That
Mhm.
doesn't make any sense because the shell just interacts with a database. It isn't anything that's executing any code. There's no top level access to anything. Like you can't do any of the things you're doing with pure data. It's just not how it works. Like, it doesn't make any sense to be able to run commands out of a database. Whoever designed, if you could, like, in theory, like, there's scripting shenanigans you could do with the database that the server would then, like, read the string of characters, and then, the CPU would do all kinds of stupid shit. But, like, whoever designed this whole system is a fucking moron. And I think if you're able to create existence, you're not a fucking moron in order to have your code so easily hacked. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like, there's so many more questions. There's so many more questions that have to be asked that just nobody ever fucking asks. Like it's so infuriating.
Maybe they just didn't
Everybody-
think about it, Berger. These hackers
Maybe they're
are
just not thinking that
obviously
Listen,
all idiots
I-
and the worst
I'm a-
hackers ever.
total fucking amateur when it comes to like programming and database scripting. Okay, and I know to ask these questions, and not a single one of these fuckfaces ever do it. The only question, like, there was.
No, please
All right,
continue.
sorry.
Yeah, continue, please. Go on.
They almost answered one of my questions where I said to myself, the only way that their time travel thing makes sense is that as soon as you save the file, you completely create a new existence entirely. Like the existence that you knew is dead, that computation string is continuing on its own ends, and you're starting a completely new one, thus making you the only thing that actually exists inside this reality. And they almost get it because they say that like oh, well, like, what if when you travel to the past, you're, like, going to an alternate reality? And that doesn't make any sense.
Well, they kind of did sort of touch on that because, like, there's a whole thing where Jimmy changes the past, and that he makes Camelot. There's Merlin and all that stuff. But then when Martin jumps right back to his present time, he's like, "What's the capital of England or whatever?" And she's like, "London." It's like, anything about Camelot? Nothing. No fucking mention. Nothing of it.
No. So they try and they explain
Go ahead,
that
Berger.
half of the time paradox. Okay, like they're trying to fix it, right? That's where we get at the end of the book. They're hand waving everything that happened, and I hate hand waving. Like it's just like, don't worry about any of this. All those things that you were thinking about no longer matter. The issue is the idea of creating, like, when you save the file, it would have to be a parallel reality in order for their time travel explanation to work, right? Um, I forgot where I was going to get. The issue is that they think that they're all interacting with the same alternate reality whenever they travel to the past. But really, that alternate reality is only unique to the individual using seed information from the original reality. So the only person that truly exists in this medieval England would be our main character, Martin. So everybody else is basically just a computer
NPC.
figment of his imagination. Yeah. That would be the only way for the time travel part of it to make sense. In that the computer only has one-way time. So it isn't that they're going back to a previous clock cycle. They're only going forward with clock cycles by generating a new universe at the moment that he does it. So, like, he thinks he's going back to medieval England, but really, like, before the moment he jumps, he's at 11:59 on the clock. And then when he goes to medieval England, he's now at 12 o'clock. And then every moment in medieval England is, 13, 14, 15, so forth. And then whenever he jumps back to to the present, it's still going on that same forward clock scale. That's the only way to make their time travel thing make sense, because reality doesn't exist outside of Martin's perception of it. Do you understand how much fucking thinking I had to do to interact with this stupid fucking book?
You fucking nerd. You're thinking too hard about this fucking book.
Maybe you should email the author and be like, "Yo, here's a huge diatribe that I came up with just on your first book in this series. Please fix."
Did you try going on Reddit to see if other people will have your sentiment?
No, I don't care about this book. I hate it.
It seems like you do, because you're really into this.
Yeah. You've thought way more about this book than I have.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I just didn't like
To
it.
be fair,
My opinion was like, I don't like
I mean,
it.
Nate was just like, "Did I like it?" Nah, you're just fucking just
Broke down this
diving into
entire
it.
time
it's like
travel.
you're making like a PhD
evaluation.
thesis about it right now.
Yeah, I am. Because the book wants you to think it's so fucking clever.
I
It
didn't
thinks
get that
it's
impression
so
from the
smart.
book.
Not
though.
at all.
I didn't get that
Not at
impression
all.
from the book.
I
That's
got
why
it.
the
I
thing-
got
your opinion-
that impression from the book because of the Philip character.
Yeah,
That's
I
who gave
think
me that
think
impression.
Philip was just
He's-
supposed to be a pretentious British guy.
Yeah. That's how I thought of it too. I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
guy's just kind of a dick.
he's
Like,
the guy
he
that
just-
he's
He's a little pompous. That's all
It's
I
like,
thought.
don't make the obvious joke.
Yeah.
Martin is our fish out of water character. He's the one that's supposed to ask all the questions for us. And Philip is the person that's supposed to be able to answer any questions that we have. The issue is that
I mean, is he though? Because Philip just seems like, all right, so this new guy showed up, and I kind of don't want to hog time and toss him back into the future and ruin his
it would
life
save him time, effort, and frustration.
because he's
He's
being
bored.
altruistic. He's like, all right, I'll just give him the ropes and just make sure he's not going to fuck
You're
shit up.
God. Why would you be altruistic?
He's not God though.
He is functionally God. Why would you be altruistic?
I mean,
Philip was
he still
bored.
has to eat and shit, so I don't know if he's
Gotta
really
share
God.
his stew, man.
Yeah.
Philip might be bored, but he has a car to go work on. That sounds a lot more interesting to me than dealing with some dipshit who's in your fucking face about stupid shit.
Yeah.
Wasting your fucking time.
Sometimes you got to step away from a project of yours, clear your mind, and that's what Martin was. He was just like, I got to clear my mind.
His whole secret studio is a project.
I mean,
It's
he
not
was
just
finished.
a car,
The only thing,
products.
his project was basically done. It was just the car that was left.
Yeah, sometimes you just wake up with the fuck arounds. So you're like, one of those days.
The whole flying scene where they teach him how to fly, and they're like, all right, he's gonna crash. Let's put a fucking target and take bets. Like, that's just dicking around.
That's another moment where they all think they're so fucking clever, and it's just like,
that's clever. More of like, hey, here's something that we know is gonna happen. Let's just bet on it. No, it's just like in the Matrix. When Neo tries to make the first jump in the Matrix, they're all like, he's not gonna make it. He's not gonna make it. No one ever makes the first jump. It's the same concept.
No,
everyone
it's not.
Places bets on the new guy. When's he gonna fuck up? I don't know. I give him a week. All right, here's $20.
No, see, the issue isn't that everybody's placing bets in the Matrix that he's going to survive the jump, right? Like,
it's not that he's going to survive; he's going to make the jump.
Right. That's all happening in real time. The part where it becomes everybody thinks they're so fucking clever is that they made the bet ahead of time, like it was prior knowledge to us. So when they then reveal the information,
assuming that they did. I mean, for all we know, they made these bets as they were watching him fly around. They were just like, "All right, let's put the fucking target up. He's going down."
But then that's just bad writing, because that's them making bets is interesting action. Like, you're supposed to show the most interesting thing going on. Martin's going to be fine.
He crashed into a duck. That was pretty interesting. I mean, if I crashed into a duck, that'd be the highlight of my story. That fucking duck was just like, oh shit, man.
Good way to end an episode, right?
I like that everything you guys say is just swelling Berger's head even more.
Well, no, because
his hair isn't helping.
You know what's funny? I'm glad that you chose that background for this podcast, Berger, because it just intensifies your anger that much more.
I'm gonna try to in post. I think in post I'm gonna try to add like that little stressed hashtag thing that shows up on anime characters. I might even do a little bar that says,
hold on, we're still fucking talking about something. We've moved past something when I'm not fucking done yet. Let's go back. So the real
pause.
Okay. Yeah. So, the reason why they did it before, or at least we either assume that they did it before and everybody thinks they're so fucking clever, or they did it in the moment and the author is just really fucking bad at his job. Okay? The reason why is because you're supposed to write what's interesting. So we can have, I'm so angry I forgot the main guy's name.
Martin.
We have Martin falling off the... He's narrating it the whole time. Like, at any point, mid-falling, while he's explaining it, you could cut back to these other people and say, I bet you he gets 10 points or whatever, like, whatever they decide they're used as their point scale. And then you cut back to it, and then you can, like, say, like, kind of hurts me out of the corner of my ear, these fucking guys want to see me be miserable. And then he hits the ground, and he hits the duck. All of that stuff with the ducks still happens, but you show the interesting bit of the bet.
However,
fall down.
The point of view was Martin, and that stays pretty much as the actual. That stays as the actual point of view throughout the entire book. So, how is Martin, the person who's currently away from these people, flying and crashing into a duck and then the ground, going to be able to hear them placing bets?
He's fucking magic. Just like you're hand waving certain things, but you don't hand wave others. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
I just hand wave it all.
Yeah,
exactly. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy does the time travel bit brilliantly, where it just says, fuck you, shit still happens the way it happens anyway. Quit thinking about it too much. And it just...
Yeah, I think you're thinking about it too much.
Takes off and has fun. No, the issue isn't that I'm thinking about it too much.
It sounds like it is.
Explain it to you. Instead of saying "fuck you," the book says, "Hey, this is why it works, and this is really, we're just going to talk about this for a minute."
I'm pretty sure the beginning of the book, the narrator actually says, "This is a work of fiction. Please don't overanalyze memorize it.
No, that's a legal disclaimer that's at the front of every book, so that way Michael Jackson or whoever doesn't sue South Park. Like, you have to have those disclaimers at the beginning in order to avoid liable lawsuits.
I've only ever
Possibly.
encountered that
Yeah.
disclaimer in these books. I don't recall ever hearing them in any others.
The lawsuit they're having
You've seen
is Berger getting a heart attack from reading this book.
You've seen it at the beginning of every episode of South Park.
Oh my god, if he strokes out, it's going to be so great.
That's
Next
not what
week.
they're doing.
So what I'm hearing from you, Berger, is that you want to do the second book in the series.
I don't. You can waste your go on that your next time around if you want, but that is not a desire of mine. Or I would think at least two of us here. Chris is a fucking monster and broke the rules where he's supposed to engage with the material seriously.
He
and,
did,
just
from his
hide
point of
behind-
view.
I did. I took it seriously to the point where, this is not serious. So
I even
I took something
prefaced
as serious
it
as
by
not
saying
serious.
this is not a serious book.
Share the edibles, man.
yeah, I just got some more yesterday. So I was like, this one is blueberry lemon. Oh,
Blueberry lemon, interesting.
it's so small. I ate it so fast I barely tasted it.
It was more of just like, I
But he
want the
felt
effect.
Yeah, it's like, let's get this in my mouth hole.
Put it in your face mouth.
Also
So-
known as a rat hole. In
I would say that this book is very, young age group. Because I don't know. This book's not really engaging.
yeah, it's not. It's made
good
for
intro. It's a good intro to. I can't even say it's a good intro, but it's an
You just
intro.
did, though.
It's a intro into more adult-ish content, but I don't know. It's a young age
What
group.
adult content? Other than
None.
murder, there's no real adult
I don't know.
content.
I'm just trying to say something positive, and it's really hard.
our beta cuck of this book.
There's been so much
the
anger.
girl
I'm
at the end
trying
of
to
it.
send some
Oh,
positivity.
hey,
It's just
I was gonna do research on this, but I fucking forgot. Why do they say that women go to Atlantis instead of like Amazonia? or something?
Because back in, I guess, medieval times, if a woman kind of showed any kind of power, they'd be like, "Oh, she's a witch, burn her."
No, the book's using very like boring stereotypes to like where people go, right? White dudes go to medieval England. For some reason, women go to Atlantis. There's nothing specific about Atlantis that I'm aware of.
That's
that
the
would be
thing. Like
specific to women.
the thing with Atlantis, you find out about it in the next book. It's basically one chick who found the file. Like, her thing was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go back and create Atlantis because I have all this fucking power." So she creates Atlantis and she makes it kind of like a haven for women.
So she jimmies Atlantis.
Pretty much. Well, it's just like
Fucking stupid as shit.
yeah,
not
that's
go-
the basic
why not
premise of the
create
whole series.
Amazonia. Why not create
Well, yeah,
Amazonia? The name makes sense.
the
there.
thing is, it's not like, basically Atlantis in this concept is basically just a city in the water that's basically suspended by like a diamond bowl, like a diamond shaped into a bowl, a giant bowl, and then they have manservants and stuff.
The book gets more silly.
Yes, it gets infinitely sillier,
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's wonderful.
and it's
like,
called. I think it's called Spell or High Water.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
It's fucking so dumb.
I love it.
I think the third book, the character of Todd comes back, and he actually traps 4 of the main characters into a video game that he developed, and they have to beat the video game.
Hey,
religious beads.
no more spoilers, because I might actually continue this. So
Okay.
it's so silly. I like it.
Why not just Amazonia? I don't. Everything about it is so dumb.
It's a popcorn book.
Like the only reference, like the only historical reference to Atlantis that I'm aware of is, I think
I
it
like
was
he's like
played.
looking for history about it and
Like,
trying
dude,
to make
you're
it serious when it's
you're
not
just
serious.
going way too deep into
Whoa.
this.
No, but
Going
they're
too far.
but they're referencing myth and legend throughout the whole book, and they're trying to build on it. And so, like,
No,
it would be great if they. Yes,
They barely
they
talk
are.
about Arthurian myth.
Yeah.
But they try to explain it. I made the round table. I renamed Galahad and the other fucking names. I don't even care. His name was Eustace. That was dumb. Let's just call him Arthur.
I mean, that's a much better name than Eustace.
It is, yeah. Eustace is a terrible
I mean,
name.
you gotta agree with Jimmy there.
It is a much better name. Jimmy did him a service. But that's not the issue. The issue is that they're trying to build on folklore. So I'm asking myself the question,
Okay,
what is it?
here's the thing. This is a book that has a statue that has a vortex that drops literal shit, human shit, onto the statue's head in an act of spite, and you're trying to read it into some
No,
serious
but even
things.
that tries to use mythos and miracle. Like it's a vague reference to Christianity's like stigmata kind of thing, like where miracles happen and the people praise it to statues. Like there's folklore and history that goes behind it. Tries to be smart, I'm telling you, but it's just so fucking dumb it can't do it. The issue that I run into is that it's like all women go to Atlantis, and it's like, why? That doesn't make any sense. If you tried to say Amazonia, I would kind of get it because that's a traditionally like women's society. And when they try to explain that like women love swimmers' bodies, which doesn't make sense because the only historical reference to Atlantis, I think, was by Plato because he was talking to some people from like Cairo, Egypt, and they explained
Fuck
that
are we going with this?
Seriously, you're just going way
a
too
rabbit
deep.
hole.
I think you're reading too much into it. I'm
The
pretty
point
sure
is the author did zero research for anything. He's just kind of like,
Bullshit.
Burger.
Has a
What we're trying to
basic
say is
Elton
that's the
John.
point. He just made a bunch of silly references.
he thinks he's much smarter than he is.
don't
No.
think that that's the case.
Listen, I'm going to explain this Atlantis bit to you. It's what I know because it doesn't make any sense
It
that
was never
they're all
made to make
swimmers.
sense.
I
Doesn't
think it
make
was
sense
just
that they're all
made for a young
swimmers.
audience. It was supposed to be just a
Shut up.
fun play on magic
Finishing.
book.
Yeah, this is a fun, cheeky story.
Shut the fuck up.
He wants
I'm
to
going to finish this.
He's gonna like he's about to write a letter to the fucking author, and he's going, "Look here,
I want him to
this is-
so bad.
I have
compiled this
to-
bunch of research."
This is me. This,
Without the research,
this
and the writer goes,
podcast
"Hey, I
right here."
explained that in the next book," and tricks him into reading the next book.
Okay, I swear, I'm gonna have a little progress bar on the video that actually shows like the sections where Berger loses his shit.
Dude, it's gonna be like a boss like rage meter. Deadly boss mods. Warning.
This is getting this off my chest in this
Mind
form is my
explosion in
catharsis with the
5.
book. Like after this, I'll be okay. I'll just be done
Burger stepped in the
until the
fire
next
too
time
long.
somebody brings it the fuck up. Oh man. Okay. So Atlantis,
Oh my god, this is great.
or
We need a-
Egypt,
we need a-
was
we need a
only a
deadly boss
colony
mod.
of a city called Atlantis that at some point fell into the ocean. There's nothing about Atlantis that's spoken that says it's like a place where mermaids, people and shit fucking swim around and do their own business. It doesn't exist. It was like a normal place, and then they
Well, now it
established
exists,
a
and
colony.
it's in a giant bowl made out of diamonds, and there are swimmers
Yeah.
with swimmer
Yeah, and
pods who have nice
even in the
cans,
first
bro.
book, when they mention Atlantis, Martin's like, "Oh, Atlantis is real." And he's like, "It's not. It's just kind of where the women go. They made their own thing."
But no,
And
my
it
the
exists.
problem
In a computer program. So, like,
My problem is that the Atlantis that's being used here is purely based off of
garbage.
no, like DC comic book Atlantis. Like that's supposed to be the point of reference rather than like actual mythical Atlantis. That's my
I don't
issue.
think anything in this
No
book was
kidding.
meant to be used
Like,
off of like.
I mean, he's
actual-
creating orcs and elves and all that shit. It's like, yeah, they made a point saying that like whatever they do in the past apparently doesn't actually show us having happened in the future.
No, but they try to explain it away at the end of the book and like we're gonna fix that. So it possibly does affect the future. They're just their hand waving in the beginning part of it doesn't make any sense.
Oh man, you know what the best part is? That later in the series, there's
Because
even
they try to
more time
explain
travel
it
that's
later.
gonna break his mind.
It's not.
I think we
Everything's
should
just
read
gonna
the
be
second
So-
book.
so there's a
you're a
character
piece of shit,
in
Nate.
the next book. There's a character that actually exists twice because there's her future self and her younger self
Spoilers.
talking to each other throughout the
Spoilers.
entire book.
I hate everything in this
Spoilers.
book.
And she looks exactly the same.
Yeah, because she's a wizard who they've stopped her aging
Sorceress.
process.
Which
So she like copy and pasted herself?
No,
There's
so
nothing inherent-
basically she
Shut up for a second. Shut up. There is nothing inherently that implies sex about a woman being a wizard. That's perfectly fine. The difference between a wizard and a sorcerer/sorceress
per
is
D&D
dependent upon how,
edition.
is how they memorize and use their spells. There's no gender that's associated with being a wizard. You can be a female wizard that's just a wizard. It doesn't have to be a sorceress. Whatever stupid fuck fixes it later in the other books and says otherwise, can go fuck themselves straight to hell.
Isn't like the Diablo series like a sorceress is a female caster and a wizard is a male caster?
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems pretty concrete.
I thought you could use
If it
gender
was in
for either
Diablo,
class.
it's true.
There's no gender swapping in Diablo.
Yes, there was in Diablo 3.
You mean the game that's a lot better than Path of Exile?
Yeah, they had one of each gender.
Did they?
Yeah. And they only
I
had
don't
like
remember.
If there was, I only
the
stick to the
female
default ones. Yeah.
That may have just
Yeah,
been
you're right.
Blizzard pandering to the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as I was saying, Nate, so there's an older one who has traveled back in time, created
Well,
Atlantis.
don't explain it. That way we can read the second book and find out for ourselves.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Let's do that.
We need to get a
Everything is
Deadly
awful.
Boss mods meter for Berger's
Let's,
anger.
Give our final cents, 2 cents on everyone's thing on this to end it.
Well, we
Berger,
still,
you can go last.
well we do our 2 cents, and then we got to do the roll for the next selection.
Yeah. So let's do our final conclusions. Berger, it's 2 cents. All right, not 25 cents. Just you don't have to into it.
Thanks.
I think we really need his 2 cents. I think we got it.
We got your $10.
I mean, I felt like
Yeah.
I was watching the podcast. as
He
a
was just
viewer.
going. He was just
Yes.
going.
That's
Listen, Andy
great.
did this. Andy did this to hurt me. It makes sense that I would
I
take up most
did.
of the space.
I definitely did this to hurt you.
There's a lot of intent.
Yeah. Andy's-
Chris, your 2 cents?
It was fine. It was a popcorn book. So if you go into the book with that mindset, which I did pretty early on, and then I got high because I was in that mindset. Yeah, it's fine. Like again, like Nate was saying, it's definitely for more of a young adult audience, right? And
Definitely a silly book.
I could see it be like an entry into like a fantasy sci-fi genre, even
That just
for,
be Harry
for a
Potter,
young
though?
adult.
That it references in this?
Yeah, I think it's just
Like,
for
if you don't understand the pop culture references that are
Berger.
used early on in this, sorry.
this is my 2 cents.
Yeah, man.
Sorry. I just heard
You have
something
your 2
really
cents.
fucking stupid and it pissed me off for a second. I'm sorry. My bad.
But it's just I think if you just go in there, the book's fine.
Angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, younger audience. Characters they got their own little niche, but they're all very simple. It's a easy book.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a nice, easy book. But I can't see myself continuing to read the series. Younger audience would be great, just like Chris said, for an intro to.
Or if you just want to listen to a silly book.
Yeah. We're just chill.
You know, if you're going into the mindset with like, let's just listen to a fun little book, then yeah, it's okay.
It's like Fast and the Furious. I just want to
Yeah.
like right,
It's
just-
bad, but once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
All
Andy?
right.
Andy?
Well, I'm the one who picked it, so I'm gonna recommend it as if you just want to listen to a silly book.
He's trying to massage the rage.
All right, let's go ahead and roll. So since I won last time, I'm excluded, but I don't think there's any 3-sided die. So if it rolls a 1, we'll just roll
You
again.
can get a 3-sided die generator, and there is like a D3.
Is there?
So you either have to be high out of your mind, an idiot who enjoys children books, or you're going to be a person who doesn't like the book. I don't think it's a good intro book to sci-fi or fantasy because the whole thing's sort of a self-referential pop culture book that would require you to have previous pop culture experience in order to understand half the references.
Yeah. Or just fuck that and read it if you want
Yeah.
to.
Eat shit, eat shit, eat shit, eat shit.
It's not like I'm going to read this book not knowing about Harry Potter and just go, well,
I
this
didn't grow
book's
up with it.
stupid.
Yeah.
All right, so I can't find the virtual 3-sided die, so we'll just do the 4. I'll be 1, so we'll know if we
Just
have to
roll a
again.
D6 and then do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So Chris, you'll be 1, 2. Berger, you'll be 3, 4, and Nate, you'll be 5, 6.
Okay.
It is 1. That means it's
Parts of me really wants to do the second book just because of the rage-inducing nature of it. But I might just keep that in my pocket as like a intermission, like take a break type book. I feel like that'd be a great just take a break between books.
really
Couple months
you
down
don't
the
want
road.
you don't want to
Episode 2 on
you don't
Magic
see if we
2.0.
can put
It's
Berger
just-
into like a massive coronary.
I want to enjoy it throughout time.
Okay.
But you got to pace it out. Like you just got to give it some breathing room. Like, all right,
Yeah.
we had a couple of good run of books. Dresden came out. We enjoyed that. Fucking toss this bitch in.
Wild card, bitches.
It's just, we understand the joke here. You're trying to make me miserable. What's your choice?
Red Rising.
What is Red Rising?
Red Rising's about Red Rising, man.
I'm actually looking forward to reading that.
Is that the one on Mars or something like that?
Yep, Pierce Brown. It's a sci-fi book.
Well, give us a premise for the episode. Come on.
So essentially, the premise is this is like in like a future time, and we've colonized planets in our solar system, and Mars particularly. A bunch of people were sent to Mars. Well, society behaves in a caste system, so you have like different, and they're organized by color. So gold is like the top of the caste system, and reds are the bottom of the caste system. And the reds are essentially like miners and laborers. And on Mars, they live underground. They mine Mars with this belief that they're mining Mars for a specific resource, actually, that's needed. That's like kind of like how spice like runs everything. The resource on Mars. And this book was like influenced
Did
by
they make
Dune.
a video game series about this?
No. Though they made a video game series. Yeah, because they have Red Faction. Similarly.
Yeah, Red Faction,
Yeah.
Red Faction Gorilla or whatever.
Yeah. But the problem is the Reds. So the planet's been terraformed already. So the premise was they would labor, and the fruits of their labor they would come to the surface to a terraformed Mars. But the Mars has been like terraformed for like hundreds of years. They've just been using them as slave labor, essentially. So that's kind of and so the protagonist is Red, and then he finds out the truth.
And it
So
goes
Red
from there.
Rising.
Okay.
Yeah.
What year did this book come out in?
Probably within the past 5 years or something.
Okay, so it's a fairly recent book.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't have like the Powder
I'm
Mage
actually
on
excited
your
to read this one.
watch list.
The what?
Powder Mage.
I've never heard of it.
Oh, there's like a Powder Mage series. It's like a flint lock magic world thing.
Okay.
It's Red Rising. It's how many hours is it?
It's 16 hours and 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can do that in a week.
There's currently 5 books in the series. The 6 books being in the middle of being written. Big fan. But
I'm excited to read it. I remember.
it's cool to find. It's cool to pick a book like that no one else has read. But
Yeah,
me.
I've
Then,
had
yeah.
it recommended by you and another friend. So
Yeah.
I get all my recommendations from Chris.
So it's got a lot of quotable lines, like one-liners.
okay.
Yeah.
So Red Rising, and we're not doing this in a week. We're doing 2 weeks, right, Berger? Since you threw a fit last time, you're like, no, 1 week.
Yeah, Chris isn't a fucking moron like you, so we can do this in 2 weeks.
Are you gonna save it all to the end again, Chris, and just cram it all in? Oh, well, I mean, you already read this, right?
I've already read it, so
Yeah.
it won't be as bad.
Okay.
And I've been wanting a reason to reread it, to be honest.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So you will kind of have to headline the next episode since you
That's
are
fine.
okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, and we will go ahead and end it there.